Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief. Woohoo! Party, party, party. Hey, I bet you don't get Julian doing an intro like that, eh? Anyway, happy Friday, TGIF. We had the baby powder report yesterday. Hope you enjoyed looking at a different look at the market, but I think we got a half decent take on what's happening here in the market. It's unfortunately, all around these Ides of March. And we have today, of course, is a huge options expiry, a quadruple witching event in the stock market. And I suppose that's probably actually not a bad little short, but we have futures contracts, we have options contracts, big quarterly options. I suppose we also have weekly options if there are any. Index futures, commodity futures, the whole darn thing. Lots and lots of expiry today. So as a result, that does mean that there's a lot of sort of accounting, bookkeeping, auto exercise, all that kind of fun stuff going on. Probably also a lot of position squaring too. And then to add insult to injury, of course, plenty of fear mongering around the banking system. And, sadly, we have talked lots in the recent past about how I think it's our general belief that the U.S. federal banking system would really, really like to do away with, get rid of the competition from what they call the regional banks in the United States. Remember, the United States of America is set up basically as 50 different little countries that all sort of loosely came together. Of course, originally it was 13 little countries. And states' rights is still very, very powerful movement within the United States of America. Something like Canada, for example, there are no provincial rights. And, provincial people, you just have to suck it. You don't like what the feds are doing, too damn bad. And if anything, we had a recent row here about the healthcare situation in our country, a really good example. And, the provinces basically couldn't do anything. But United States of America, that's the one thing that's that makes the United States very unique, is that these states actually still retain quite a bit of individual power and authority. One of those features, if you will, is the fact that there's very much still an independent banking system in the United States, or there shortly won't be, but... Anyway, Mr. Powell has made it expressively clear that he wants to get anybody who is not a deemed financial institution, aka bank, out of the banking business. And I believe that there is a concerted effort within sort of the powers that be, the tinfoil hat kind of conversations, all that kind of stuff. The cabal wants to consolidate power, and unfortunately a lot of what you're seeing right now is just a function of that. Tragically, I actually think that a lot of the problems that you see in the community banking system right now are nothing more than a function of the feds and the federal government in the United States just completely blew up the balance sheet, blew up the books. We had interest rates taken to zero, which should have never happened. But of course, these humans panicking, shouldn't we be mortgaging our futures? Shut the fuck up and give them the goddamn money. Blah 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 blah. And then on top of that, of course, the socialists who are in charge of the U.S. government, because of the fact that Donald Trump so alienated the population, you had a massive leftist movement. But I don't even think the populace in the United States is that socialist. But the leftists all came piling in, and MMT and all that kind of nonsense. This is like the perfect storm. And these regional banks, they got a ton of money that poured into them. And what are they supposed to do with this money? the governments, like in Europe, the way that Lagarde and all those cronies set it up, you actually kept the customers' deposits in the bank, and they actually lose money. It's negative, at least in the States it was zero. So, I mean, that wasn't so bad. But, they got to pay the employees, got to pay for electricity, got to keep the place warm, when the weather goes down, or maybe a bit cool when the temperature gets too high. So the banks got to be able to have some sort of positive revenue. So they had no choice. They had to go out the yield curve and take those customer deposits and put them on, and ironically enough, they were told by the powers that be that, oh, yes, this is the most safe, secure asset in the world, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and sadly on the other side of this, hyperinflation. Oh, maybe interest rates aren't going to be zero forever. I mean, who was thinking that? Frankly speaking, that is, in my opinion, criminally culpable. That someone like a Treasury Secretary of the United States of America coming out and publicly demanding that the public invest in the public, go and borrow money, and encouraging the U.S. government to go further and further into debt. And, hey, interest rates are so low, we can continually just keep borrowing. The interest payments on interest at zero is nothing, so don't worry about it. Frankly speaking, I gotta say, I'm not a citizen of the United States of America, but if I was a citizen of the United States of America, I would say, Miss Granny there in charge of the U.S. Treasury, I think she's culpable in this. And, sadly, like I said, all the regional banks, they just did what they were, they're just going to stay in the business. And they were told that these U.S. Treasuries were, safe and secure and not a problem. And it's just simply the falling value of those U.S. Treasuries that's got them into trouble here. And what a perfect scenario for these, for the cabal. The regional banks, that they haven't broken any laws. They did what basically the feds told them to do. They're just trying to keep the lights on. And now, I saw, in the lounge, of course, we're always throwing out this comment and that comment. But each of the individual states, like I said, they're all sort of individuals. They're all now going to Granny. Well, are you going to guarantee our community banks deposits here? Because they probably did the same thing as Silicon Valley and stuff. And Granny saying, her. I don't know if you ever listened to her talk, but she's perfect at saying like almost nothing and taking 10 minutes to get it out. Oh, God. It's like I said, I actually think that this is getting to the point where it's culpable. But the question you have to ask yourself is, what the hell is going on? Why is this happening? And I actually think that the whole thing, and I tweeted it out this morning, and sorry for the crazy ass rant, but what the hell, that's why you guys love me so much. But I actually think that the whole damn thing comes down to just simply the fact that the U.S. population sent to Washington representatives that said, look, enough of this nonsense. Enough of this insane money printing and runaway government spending. And when the hell did the United States of America turn into a communist country? What the hell's going on here? But the point is that, the representatives were sent to Washington and say, enough, no more spending, stop. And they kind of said things like, we're not going to raise the debt ceiling anymore. We've had enough of this. And I think that this is basically the bankster saying, excuse me, who's driving the bus here? If you think that you're in control of this situation, I've got news for you. And here you go. Here's a nice little crisis. Now let's see what your constituents say when they're worried about losing all their bank deposits and probably potentially losing their jobs. And of course, hyperinflation, the price of the grocery store is going to continually go through the roof, blah, 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 blah. So that's what I actually think's going on. That's the whole backdrop to all this, is the banksters have to get the U.S. Congress back to the point of Should we debate mortgaging our future, the kids' future, the value of our country, the currency, our future, the United States? Shut the fuck up! Just give them the money! Give them the money! Give them the money! That's what's going on here, folks. It sucks, but hey, welcome to Klaus's Great Reset. Hope you're enjoying the ride. Good. All right, there's the rant. I had to get it out. All right. I was telling Chris before we got the video going today that because Julian does do the baby powder report on Thursday, that means I got like 48 hours of all this bile all built up in me. And I was like, get ready. This is going to be crazy. Anyway, so that didn't take too long. That only got about 10 minutes cut into our time. Tried to do these about a half-hour show for the public. FYI, we do a follow-up show where we can look at charts and, hey, this is an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. I think the last show, the Afterparty show, I was doing a bunch of commentary on commitments to traders reports. So I think in the Afterparty show, if we do that, if we have time, I'll probably continue on that. As well, you know, it is interesting to see. I mean, what I would just simply say with regard to the broader market is, remember, this is quadruple witching. So we got a whole bunch of derivatives markets all doing their thing. Where was I? Okay, I got 2 or 3 thoughts going in my head. Sorry. Before we get into this, I'll just mention we like to on Fridays reach out to TRI OG community and invite them to come on to shows, and if they feel like contributing something to the conversation, it provides value for site members, all that kind of fun talk. And one gentleman that I really enjoyed working with, who's probably one of our, how do we say this? You know what he is? He's a good Canadian. That's what he is. Brian, unfortunately, I'm probably not the best representative for Canada because I get awfully emotionally triggered and off I go on crazy-ass rants. But this gentleman is the consummate Canadian. He is so polite. He's such a good person. And I think that the market's treated him very well. He knows how to play the game of capitalism. I think we've taught him all the rules. And on top of, you know, teaching him the rules and the fact that he's such a good person, I think the good Lord has rewarded him rather well. So if you are interested, we'll have Colin. I think he made it here. Colin, are you here? You got a microphone handy?
Colin is not here currently, and he had to take a rain check on today's show. So we'll,
there you go. So I built him up and then he bailed. Well, if you're watching this later on, Colin, we'll check in with you when you do decide to get to the... All right, so then that does give me more time to have mindless rants. Woo!
the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
All right, so Big B, I know you wanted us to take a good look at the rest of those commitments of traders reports for like wheat and stuff. So maybe we'll take a deep dive into that in the after party show. As you can see, holy moly, talk about volatility. But at the same time too, you can see I have the S&P futures charts up here. Is that really actually an outright sell signal here today? I don't think so. This is a daily chart. It is a down day, don't get me wrong. But we did have a pretty substantial rally here coming off the lows here recently. And ironically enough, you know, we're not supposed to chase. So I really couldn't endorse people to buy up top there anyway. And I suppose, you know, the number one reason why the stock market is coming off here is, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Kramer came out and said, you better not short the stock market or else you get punished. So what does the NASDAQ do? It comes down. Interesting how these images look very different here, right? So, whoops, I probably don't want to confuse you with all that. What did I have? I guess I just had the micro contracts on here. Well, what the hell? We could talk a little bit about this. You know, let's see if I can get it out. Well, this sort of looks very middle of the road. Doesn't really look like we're overbought. Doesn't really look like we're oversold. We're just sort of banging around here. And the problem is that prices are so high now. Let's just do a clean chart there for you. Prices are so high. I mean, where are we here? 39.50. I mean, I've told you guys before that market doesn't even really sort of pay attention to movements until at least sees at least about a 2 or 3% move in price. So the fact that the market's down 1% here, that's almost like meaningless in the market's eyes. It looks to me like we rallied into resistance. The 13 EMA works very well as a resistance level, and we have the 200 SMA. That's a resistance level. So what a big surprise! We had to stall out there a little bit. Probably the market that's surprised me the most is the gold market. I'd be leery about looking for too much of a bigger move to the upside here because when we throw on nice little W's, when we throw on our fog and bombs, we notice there's 2.618. Have we actually accepted above this level, considering it is quadruple witching? We just had the Ides of March, and this coming week we have a big FOMC meeting. And we all know that the FOMC loves to crap on the market. And following that date, the whole damn thing starts to reverse and head back down again. So I'm a little bit leery about getting too excited to the upside here on the gold. And of course, remember, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. I personally like to follow things like, which I think in the States, I like to follow the big gold stocks. So something like Barrick. What does that chart look like? Does that look like a runaway bull, or does that look like I'm not really quite sure what the hell I want to do. I mean, I suppose you could make an argument. Big old gap to the upside. There's a hole in the charts up there that needs filling in. But then at the same time, too, this is all gaps all the way up here. So, we probably have to be thinking at some point we have to come down, fill in these gaps. So I don't know. I'm not really rah. Okay, let's all go pile into the gold. Although, $40 update, that's pretty impressive. My hunch is probably through the weekend we're going to have a bit more sort of craziness. Coordinated meetings by European and North American banksters to come up with a plan to, at the very least, address these credit shortfalls. But the issue here is at some point the market's going to run out of faith in these people. I did find it interesting that the U.S. Federal Reserve, somebody posted this in the lounge this morning, this is your quantitative tightening. And you can see this is over a period of like 6-8 months. And in like literally less than a week, they can take all of that back. Boom! Just like that. And it's gone. And I get the distinct feeling that the market believes we're back into this insanity again. And if that's the case, then yeah, it does make a sense. Mr. Schiff might now finally be vindicated. It is interesting to see that when you look at the other metals markets, I'm not really getting the biggest sort of confirmation. We look at silver, that's not really breaking out. If anything, I got to be worried about maybe a head and shoulders top there. And dead cat bounces. We can probably just make the argument that there to there and reload zones. We should probably expect the market to come back up and fill in these gaps. So I don't know whether that's overly bullish or not. Copper's a little bit suspicious. They call copper the professor of economics. So that might actually make it for a good short, Chris, if you're interested. What is the professor of economics telling us right now? I think the professor of economics is telling us that economic activity is kind of winding down. As a major blow to this whole green movement. I was watching a video the other day by I can't remember his name, Zahn. I think Peter Zahn. I think that's his name, something like that. The other day, and he said that for us to pull off this dream that the guys like Carney at the and probably Klaus and all these people, Carney wants the world to borrow $100 trillion to build out this green world, this green environment. But the numbers just don't make sense. And Mr. Zahn was going through, there's about 14 different things that have to all come together perfectly for you to actually build out this electric car and getting rid of gas powered, coal powered energy plants and stuff. This whole green movement sort of plan, and he said, like, literally the production of every single one of these commodities will have to double, at least. And he went through, go and Google. It was an interesting interview that he did the other day, and he was actually addressing Canada specifically. And I didn't get to the point where he crapped on Canada, but I have a feeling it wasn't a positive statement, because at the very beginning of the video, he's kind of like, you're probably not going to like what I'm going to say about Canada. But anyway, the point being that, is it even realistic for the world to double the production of, copper, zinc, tin, all these base commodities that have to go into building out this infrastructure? And I just don't think it's realistic. And I guess the whole point that I'm trying to make here is Professor of Economics is saying, hey, this economic activity is winding down. It is not speeding up right now. So that's an interesting sort of side. Since the beginning of the year, copper's actually been working its way lower, not higher. So we'll see how that goes. And interestingly enough, Daniel D. Martino Booth, did I get that name right? Danielle?
That was perfect.
All right, excellent. I mean, the easiest way to remember is just Chris's girlfriend.
There you go.
But the point is that she was saying that of all the metals that she liked the best, and I have to agree with her, is if you were going to actually be buying a metal to sort of for investment purposes, I would buy platinum here. Platinum, and this is the way it goes. I remember back in the 1990s, the longest time, palladium traded at a massive discount to platinum. That's what, nobody buys platinum anymore. It's baffling, but you can see platinum was like $2,200-$2,300 an ounce there. Not that then. This was back. Actually, this is even 2000s. And in a weird sort of way, palladium actually overtook platinum. You can see palladium even now is $1,300 an ounce. But look at how it recently went all the way up to $3,400 an ounce. And everybody's all rah excited. This is kind of like the rare earth palladium. But, anyway, just the point being that I kind of like her. I think she's got a good head on her shoulders. She's been sort of talking about how there's a few albatrosses hanging over the market, things like the auto industry debt, consumer credit card debt now is approaching $1 trillion. Now, you go to the bank, hey, I'm going to make my credit card payment. Oh, and it's gone. So I don't have any money at all? Oh, thanks. So anyway, she made the argument that if I was going to be investing in a metal, I'd be investing in platinum now, because platinum actually looks extremely undervalued. Anyway, maybe we'll look at the commitments of traders reports after that. In the Afterparty and take a look at the data there. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make with all of this is I don't know whether I want to get too wrapped up in sort of following the short-term price spikes here today because of the odds, because of the quadruple witching, because of the fact that there is an FOMC meeting next week, and they've basically been hell-bent on raising rates, and the data is still coming out extremely strong. I thought it was interesting in Canada, the housing starts numbers up like 15%. So that that Powell himself has said that we got housing inflation here. We have to somehow get under control, and there's huge. Um, I don't even know what the term is. I think it's like institutional demand. Like Peter Lynch and stuff. Or no, that's not his name. Uh the guy who runs BlackRock, Larry Fink, I think that's his name. Anyway, these guys are just buying up all the houses, of course, because they just want to turn us into tenant slaves. But anyway, I digress. One thing I did notice that was pretty interesting this week: crude oil, of course, continuing to move lower. Lower highs and lower lows defines a bear. It is interesting that Saudi said that they're not really interested in giving the Swiss any more money. Are they kind of feeling the pinch now? Might. I don't know specifically, but I have been talking to people. Probably looking at this chart's not very helpful. But I have been talking to people about how we got this huge, just massive M up top here. And I put a tweet out the other day. I suppose 200 period weekly moving average should act as a bit of a support. You've heard people in social media talk about 200 period weekly moving average in Bitcoin and stuff. Fog and bombs off of this M top. I actually really like a revisit of about $40 a barrel there on crude. That seems perfectly logical to me. I would say in the short term, we're probably stuck in some sort of moving average sandwich. And if the Fedsters can't get control of this situation, I suppose if the Fed does raise interest rates again, that's going to add more downside pressure to the world economy. And it might just facilitate the drop. And of course, if this does drop, this will reverberate through the economy. It will be deflationary, which will hopefully solve some of the problems that the Fed has.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, what's up?
Why we got a few minutes left till 30 minutes.
Yeah, there we are, eh? So, let's see. So, we try and do things like what's in the news. I think hopefully gave you a half decent sort of overview of the news. I don't know whether I did a good job there or not. Econs. Interestingly enough, we had a bit softer data coming out of Canada, econ-wise, but we are getting sort of news. I think that the consumers are now starting to feel the pain down in the United States with all the interest rate increases. We've been watching the retail sales in the States coming down. So I think on balance, Mr. Powell is getting, he's all told us specifically he wants us all to feel pain. So I think, we had the consumer sentiment numbers come out here today, and they've backed off a little bit with it, and sadly with that W you're seeing on the charts there. It's not like a longer term trend up, but I think this little double bottom kind of bothered him a bit. Is that pullback in consumer sentiment, is that enough to get Mr. Powell to sort of acquiesce? I don't think so. But hell, we'll have fun barking about the meeting this coming week. I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday. So on rate decision day, we'll have we usually have a public hangout for that. It's kind of fun chit-chatting through the event and what to look for. The interesting thing is, and I love this as something that you want to sort of keep in your back pocket. I've been playing this game forever. If the market rallies into that event, then usually that's not a good sign for the other side. If the market sells off into the event, that actually is a good sign for the other side. So this is what concerns me, and we'll finish off this free video today. And of course, we'll dovetail this on Sunday in the free broiler chicken show. I'm sure the crypto kids and everybody's super jazzed and super excited about the market breaking to new highs here on the Bitcoin price. But, I'm worried that we've got this damn FOMC meeting coming up here next week. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Where do I have that? Over here? Yeah. So there is FUMC. It's coming up next week. And I've talked to you guys about this before. Are we going to have a scenario like this where the market works its way up into FUMC, FUMC happens, and boom. And they have a history of doing this to us. This isn't like this is a one-off. If I go back and just scroll back over time, market works its way up into FUMC, boom, down she goes. Market works its way up into FUMC, took an extra day here, boom, down on the other side. So, I don't fault you crypto kids and stuff. If you want to be bullish and you want to be long, I don't fault you. I really don't. And interestingly enough, if we just follow our algo actually got me into a long position there. And I was underwater for like a few days going, oh, Jesus, what the hell's going on with this damn algo? Why is it bullish and the market's crapping out here? Let's see if I can show you that. Where the heck is that? It's not that screen. And yeah, I should probably talking too much. All right, so we're still bullish here. We're ridiculously bullish. We had a little bit of a pullback, which if anything was good. Sort of, you don't want this thing sitting right up at 100 because then it means there's no room to go further. So a little bit of a pullback's healthy. And quite often what I tell people is if you start to see these moving averages move like really far apart, at this point here you had the fast at 90 and the slow at 10. That's just too wide. So we had to see a bit of a check, and I think that makes sense, but it's still pointing bullishly. The alts all seem to be pointing bullishly now too. This is sort of the whole crypto universe. And interestingly enough, the breadth indicator from the longer term perspective, like I showed you originally, you turn on the TV or whatever your sort of media choice is du jour, and you look at the stock market and you're like, oh my God, down 37 points. There's really not a hell of a lot going on here. In fact, on a weekly basis, this darn thing's still up. So it's not really like the stock market is melting down. Look at that. Now it's less than 1% down. I wouldn't even be surprised if they close this damn market positive on the day. And interestingly enough, we could probably carry this conversation on into the Afterparty show. Usually the rule is that gold can only go up when crude oil is going down, and vice versa. Crude oil goes up, gold goes down. So the fact that we showed you crude looks like it's about to fall apart here, probably lose another $20, $30 a barrel. That actually does give gold the green window to rally, or the green light to rally. The only problem is, can you chase? Don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. It is interesting from this perspective. I've been bullish of this ratio for quite a while. And actually, it might be interesting to go back, Chris, if we could, and go and look back to the date of which we did start talking bullishly of this gold crude ratio. I don't know if you guys remember that. Maybe we'll review that in the Afterparty show too. But in essence, that ratio is continuing to work really nicely. So, ironically enough, the algo is actually, we've got not only the stock market pointing up, we have altcoins, we have that crypto top 30, and look at all these goddamn sixes. This is crazy. So, like I said, I don't fault you guys. And if anything, the message that I've been trying to convey to everybody in the world is, I don't think crypto's a short here, and I think it's dangerous shorting down at the bottom ends of ranges. And if anything, pullbacks are buying opportunities. And we'll finish off the video here. It's about 30-35 minutes. That's not a bad window. Here's an example of one where I worked a bit. This is our shark setup. See the bullish market structure. Nice big fat W. Huge rally. Pullbacks to 78.6s. Brian's favorite fib, your BFF. And look at that trade. We're looking like geniuses here. So, this is what I try to teach you guys in the education program. And there's a few of these things that have done this recently that it's just like, damn, nice trade. There are names that have already gone. I'm wondering whether I get a fill on a pullback here. I notice this one does have some listing issues, so we might see how some fireworks around that. But, there's a lot of green on this screen, and some of these things like that ARPA are just looking like they're on fire right now. So, probably through the weekend, this should be probably a pretty good environment for you guys. Once we get to sort of Tuesday-ish, I think it would probably be a good idea just to cool your jets a bit. Um, I suppose to finish off that image right there, I think is crypto in a nutshell. And if you can teach yourself how to do this, holy crap, there's a lot of money to be made here. We'll finish off this video with just maybe a little bit of a sales pitch, if you will. If you want to learn how to do this, and of course, keep in mind, we've got like raffles every single term. So, hell, just join the raffle and you might get the seat for free. Pop on over to this page. I can put it, Chris, can you put this, I suppose? We go in the links and descriptions below. I think that's how
Should already be there.
Okay,
Right.
awesome. So I put it in the room. As you can see, you got about a month and a half until the next program starts. So keep that in mind. As well, too, for more advanced market participants, our level 3 instructor has created a sort of 3.5 course program that's all about spread trading. And Zach is getting really, really good at his spread trading. I'm so proud of him. It's beautiful to see students sort of, I teach them the basics and then just watch them take the ball and just run with it. I remember I used to be an options broker, so I used to have tons of clients that do all this. But anyway, Zach's basically put together, this is a very typical spread trade. This happens to be, it's not a very good picture, I know. But anyway, he has a whole formula. He actually has a computer program that spits out all of these ratios. And interestingly enough, on something like Amazon, that's potentially putting in an outside-upside key reversal, which you don't see every day, folks. And I think this is the number one reason why a guy like Jim Cramer was kind of like, yeah, better be careful not shorting the NASDAQ. You might get your head handed to you. I could very easily see that is a beautiful outside-upside key reversal. This is actually one candle. This is probably one of the most powerful single candle patterns you will ever see in your trading career. And yet, ironically enough, nobody in the public talks about this. But if this signal has not confirmed, it will confirm on Monday if we happen to go through this, whatever this week's high is here. That's the setup. And of course, we're at the bottom of the range, double bottom, blah, blah, blah. You can see where trend line resistance is way up here, blah, blah, blah. This is actually taking advantage of those key reversal signals, which our system produces on a very regular basis. In fact, we've been barking about how Amazon is actually, I think, relatively cheap because it's just been banging around down at the bottom end of his range. Oh, look at that. It's off the list now. We did have it. It was on this is our El Cheapo list. And you can see the last time it was on the list was back there on the 27th of February. I love shopping this list for cheap ideas. Hey, look at that. Tesla's on there. Oh, wonderful. Anyway, so it doesn't surprise me that, stocks that are on the cheap list, they do things like they spit out double bottoms with key reversals and spit out just incredible spread trades. So where am I going with all this? I just put this tweet out yesterday, and we talked with the TRi team, and I think we want to go ahead with this program. So I just put this out yesterday and said, we're getting this spread program going. If you guys, anybody who has taken the education program, if you would like to consider joining this, and actually I was quite surprised. We probably want to do maybe somewhere between a dozen and 20 students. You don't really want to do too more than that, or then it gets crazy. We got about I'd say about half of the seats taken. So if you are a TRi alum, if you happen to be in the level 3 program or recently graduated, and you would like to work with Zach's a fantastic person, just a really great person. And also, like I said, he got pretty damn good at his craft. Anyway, that's on the docket for this spring. And then also the last thing that I'll mention is I've had actually quite a bit of interest, especially with Wednesday show, people talking a little bit about getting day trading going. You saw, I think Paul, one of our co-hosts there on the Wednesday program, he's all getting day trading and stuff. And I suppose when the market's kind of soft like this, it makes sense. We had a lot of demand from site people about getting the Trader Bootcamp up and running. What would Brian want to see out of you if you fancy yourself a day trader? And that's actually something along the lines of this. It's Again, I would prefer this be sort of TRi alum, so I don't have to teach you about trading plans and risk management and all that kind of stuff, but just basically going over some of our basic day trader setups, and then setting yourself up. What do you actually have to have in place? This is sort of the weekend pre-setup, and then spending just a couple weeks with you guys going through special assignments for the different groups, teaching you and making sure that you are actually doing the setups correctly. Every single day of the week, this boot camp, we're going to do 1 week of sort of teaching, and then the second week is you have to demonstrate to me Monday to Friday that you can actually do this, what I've sort of outlined in the first week of the course. So, as you can see, it's coming together pretty nicely. I've got pretty good itinerary here. So, we're thinking about doing this in the spring, but if there's just not that demand, then I can understand that maybe there isn't. This is awfully short notice. But if there is, then if you are watching this and you are interested, come on the site tomorrow. And we're having a meeting to sort of review how that itinerary is going to look, whether there's anything we can add to it, and then also where we plan on doing this. And of course, price points and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's just a shout out, just an advertisement that we're going to be moving forward with that as well. So we got about 3 or 4 things on the go here. As well too, the dashboard is working very nicely. As I told you, it was kind of funny this past week. Actually, not that one. This past week, I was underwater on a Bitcoin trade because of the algo, and now I'm actually feeling pretty positive. So the algo is making money, just doing its thing. If you want to use the algo to just try and help you sort of position yourself, if the algos are pointing bullishly, kind of. In fact, actually, we have one site member who specifically says that really I don't take a trade unless I see all 3 of these pointing bullishly. And I suppose that works pretty well as well too for the crypto community. I love working off of this. I might even swing around and we'll take a deep dive into this into the Afterparty show. But I just talked too much. There's so much to cover. Hopefully you got some value out of that 30-minute rant. Actually, it was about 40 minutes. My apologies. That and an extra 10 minutes of Brian going crazy there at the beginning. And actually, you know what I want to do, which I'm going to do in the Afterparty show. So if you are a site member, feel free to pop in and participate, is I want to take a look at these crypto stocks. And we will take a real good look at what the prospects are of making some money here. And I do find it interesting, right? Do you hear any Barstool people interested in Riot now? Remember, the Barstool people, they were all crazy bullish up here. That's a very interesting looking chart down here, folks. What letters of the alphabet do you see now? And is anybody in the public even the slightest bit interested in this stuff? So it's probably worth our while to circle around. Let's take a look at some of these crypto stocks. I don't know whether I would consider this a buy just yet, but you're going to have to tune into the Afterparty show to hear that. All right, everybody. I wish it was a great day. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day in the market. PMA for the win. Somebody asked, how many times can I enter the raffle? Now, that's not fair, Brian. I don't know whether you've heard of this expression before, PMA for the win. We all try to work together around here at TRi. We all try to help each other out. Try not to take advantage of the system or TRi. Please, just be a good person. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best. And the only thing left right to say is bye for now.